Yo, how's it going, everyone? Today, I want to start a new YouTube thing. I don't know if it's going to be any fun whatsoever for anyone, but I want to do it. I want to do it. So, we're going to be playing Powerwash Sim, but we're not going to be talking about Powerwash Sim, because there's not much to talk about Powerwash Sim. If you don't know about Powerwash Sim, you go around cleaning things with a power wash. It's fun, it's relaxing. I want to use Powerwash Sim, which is one of my favorite games to chill to talk to you guys about random things. So I'm going to start off with some One Piece. I'm going through the anime again right now, so I felt like at the end of each arc, I could do one of these videos, which would be between 15 and 20 minutes long, and just talk about how I felt about the arc. So we're going to be starting with the Sabaody Archipelago Arc. And yes, I can't say archipelago very well, so we're just going to call it the Sabaody Arc. And even that, I don't think is said correctly. But yeah, from now on, like, when a topic comes to mind, I'm just going to waffle over the top of it. Hence why this is called Gaming Waffle. It's not scripted in any way, which is why I'm going to stutter and stuff. I do have problems with stuttering when I'm talking because of social anxiety. But I just thought it'd be fun just to, talk. So yeah, One Piece. I'm a huge fan of One Piece, and I've been going through the anime again very recently. I never actually was up to date with the anime. I've only ever got up until around this point, the last time I tried to catch up. It didn't have 1,000 episodes back then either. I am up to date with the manga though. I'm a big fan of the manga. Um, I used to write. I used to be a writer and I used to write my feelings about these things down. I don't write anymore, so I feel like these videos are going to help me, get my feelings about these things out like writing used to do. But the Sabaody arc is one of the first arcs, I think, that kind of really hit home for me just how dangerous the One Piece world is. Because you get lost in the fact that, I don't know, like you get lost in the fact that it's fun. It kind of felt kiddie. Luffy is a funny main character to follow, but Sabaody Arc kind of turned it on its head. Like you'd had themes that were dark before, but like you were literally trying to save a friend who was about to be sold as a slave. And a lot of nasty things were said, and you could kind of guess what kind of slave they were going to be, you know? And it was very, very dark. And it was quite short, because it's kind of like the beginning of the Summit War arc. So, like, they end up at Sabaody Archipelago, which is like the last big stop before Fishman Island, which is the last big stop before they, go into the Grand Line and all that. Or the New World, whichever. I always get confused with places in One Piece. But, the first big thing that kind of happens there is you get the feeling that something's not right, because Kami and Hachi, or Hatchin, who are a mermaid and a fishman, are kind of hiding themselves. The crew, some of the crew kind of get it. Obviously, Robin being very smart, Nami being very smart, they kind of get it. Luffy doesn't, because he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He wouldn't, even people who he has fought, he doesn't have a mean thought about them in their head after he's beaten them up, Like, he will give second chances because he's just a sweet guy. So bigotry and things like that don't come to his mind. So he just thinks it's a bit weird, but, he kind of goes off on a Luffy one, He finds a bubble bike and he likes that. But my big thing was, my heart just went when they started showing the worst generation. I forgot how, I don't even think originally it was so impactful seeing, the worst generation. You were being told, what kind of people they were and things like that. But I don't think it clicked because I hadn't seen anything of them. Going back and watching it again, knowing where the story goes, and I won't go into that because if you're watching this as a summary of, the Sabaody arc and you haven't got further in the manga or the anime, I will not say anything. But very obviously these are the people you do see more of in the future. And when I first watched it, they were all really cool, and it was cool to have all these like big name pirates we'd never seen or heard of before, all show up in the same place. Going back and watching it when, like, I'm up to date in the manga, I know what some of these characters do in the future. It gave me goosebumps, especially when they did go to save Kami. And you have Law and Kid and Luffy all together. It's very impactful going back to it. And even if you're not going to watch the whole anime, or if you've watched the anime before, the Sabaody arc is generally one that I feel like now you can go back and it hits you so much harder if you know what happens in the future. Because it's just an amazing scene. It's just amazing seeing them fighting together. But just seeing all of them, like, their introductions were so cool, and they got the personality. Like, there were a bunch of them, obviously. There was a whole bunch of people to introduce, all in a small space of time. And the amount of personality they gave to each character with, like, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, enough to flash up a name card of the ones that had the big bounties. It was perfectly done. Like you got their personalities, and you got that they were people to be worried about. You got that they were on Luffy's, level. They were big name pirates who were also rookies. Not only were they big name pirates that were also rookies, some of them weren't as nice as Luffy. We were told about Kid and why Kid has a higher bounty than Luffy is because he doesn't go around liberating people. He does bad things. So you know that these aren't just all kids who wanted to be, the king of the pirates. Yeah, they might all want to be king of the pirates, but at the same time, actually, some of them are very dangerous. And that was so very cool. And then obviously they save Kami, and Luffy hits a celestial dragon, which makes him an enemy of the celestial dragons, which only Luffy could do because it's Luffy, and I don't blame him. I wanted to punch Carlos. Carlos deserved it, or Charlos. He's not Carlos. Let's not put him in with the Carlos because, I love my Carlos. Charlos. It's like the evil version of Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz put together, made rich and, horrible. Anyway, nobody here for One Piece is going to get the Formula One references, probably. Anyway, so he makes an enemy of the Celestial Dragons, but also because Riley, and oh my god, Riley in this takes my breath away. Like, knowing now just how big and important he is, and you get that feeling. Like, I'm not spoiling anything to say that because he tells you who he is. He was the right hand man of Roger. He is such an important guy in the history of the world right there and then. Like you don't need to know anything else about him. But I don't think, again, it's something you kind of really hit home until you understand what Haki is. And the more you learn about Roger, even though you kind of got, oh my god, he's the right-hand man of the King of the Pirates, the more you learn about Roger, the more you think, oh my god, his crew are godly, So, like, going back and seeing Rayleigh introduced was amazing. And because he's there in the slave auction being, sold as a slave because he was going to steal from people, as you do, like a pirate, like a former pirate, they have a whole bunch of Marines ready to take him out. And this is where Kizaru is introduced. Kizaru terrifies me. I am so terrified of Kizaru. And he is. It's because he's so laid back. He's so laid back and he doesn't care. And it's just terrifying. It is so terrifying for me watching him and his lightning powers. And then the pacifistas come into it, and you've got 3 versions of Kuma. One fighting Luffy and his crew, and then Kid and Law, and then the actual Kumas walking around the place as well. It's the first time you feel Like the Straw Hats can't win. And the Straw Hats don't win. Because they can't. Because they're not strong enough. Because Kizaru is at the top, and so is Kuma, and the pacifistas themselves are something completely different because they're robots. And some of them have Kizaru's power, which is a light power, which is very dangerous. And it gets to you. You see them fail. You see Zoro not even be able to face Kuma because of what happened at Thriller Bark, which is really sad. And anyone who, knows what happened in Thriller Bark will be in tears thinking about what happened to Zoro. But, like, he can't even stand up to Kuma because of what happened in the past. And then Zoro's always been the rock of the crew, and to see him crumble and to see them having to try to save him because he couldn't fight back and he got so injured and he was already so injured, and they have to kind of save him from Kuma, from Kizaru, from all of these things happening, and they fail. And the only reason that any of them survive is because the original Kuma, actual Kuma, not quite cyborgy Kuma, he goes against what the Marines want, and instead of killing them, we see that his powers will repel people away. So he touches you with his hand, and you go flying for 3 days, and you end up somewhere, anywhere. Just 3 days away, somewhere. Gone. And he does that. And the Straw Hats are separated. And a little bit off of that, because then you go through Luffy's story of, the next thing he's doing is he's got to go and save Ace, because you find out that Ace is being executed. And in between, him settling where he landed and finding a way to get to Ace and all that, you see that everyone's kind of been sent somewhere they needed to be. And some of them, I know, some of them, it wasn't very well explained that that's where they need to be. They're just in random places. You can see with Nami, she's where she needs to be. She's somewhere that has something to do with weather. You can see it very well with Usopp, who is somewhere with man-eating plants. A lot of his stuff are trick stuff that uses poisons and stuff like that. So you can see that they're now put where they need to be. So not only did Kuma not kill them like the Marines wanted, didn't capture them like the Marines wanted, he sent them places they needed to be. And it's such an important part of the Summit War arc, which is one of the most important One Piece arcs in general, because they lost. And they know they lost. They lost horribly. There's no ifs or buts about it. The Straw Hats lost. But in losing, they ended up where they needed to be. You see? So yeah, Sabaody Arc. I love it. I love the introduction of the Worst Generation and learning about them and learning what the Worst Generation is. I don't think they call it that at that point. I think they're called that later. But it's not a spoiler. They had a different name, I think. Or maybe it was just a translation thing. But I liked introducing them. Kizaru scared the hell out of me. Seeing what happened to Zoro made me cry. And yeah, as far as One Piece goes, I think that's all I've got to say for today. And I feel like, there we go, we've got that core bell cleaned. So yeah, thank you for watching. As I said at the beginning, these videos are probably gonna happen once in a while. Usually when I finish the One Piece arcs, as I go through the anime. I might also do it from time to time when I feel like it. Some stories. I have some great stories from, when I used to go to wrestling shows. There's one that I want to share about the rest of the Raven. I also watch Formula One, so it would be fun to maybe, do it at the end of the Formula One race weekend, seeing that's coming back up. I might miss the first couple because I don't know when this one's going out. But yeah, we can do some Formula One reviews in this way. If there's anything you want to hear me talk about, let me know, and I'll see if I can fit it into a 15 to 20 minute video. But yeah, I stream 4 times a week over at twitch.tv/worker89. I stream on a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Saturday, and a Sunday at 1 p.m. British time. So if you want to come and hang out, please do. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I don't really know why I'm making it. It just seems like a fun idea to do, and I've got nothing better to do. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you later. Thank you, and bye-bye.